they stole the election for him.
That Russia stole the election.
Colluded with Russia and stole this election.
It helped him to steal, and we're going to pin him down because
Russia stole our election, and Obama let it happen. Thanks, Obama.
That Russia invaded in our 2016 election and literally stole the election.
No, Russia may have influenced our election in 2016, but they didn't steal it. Our votes counted back then. Trump won fair and square. We picked him, despite what the Democrats will have you believe. But in 2020, a new potential enemy has emerged. And if we don't stop them soon, our votes, the ones brave men and women throughout the entire history of our nation and our world have fought for, may cease to have any real power at all.
Here's how to steal an election.
In 2020, Big Tech is working overtime to influence the presidential election to go the way they want. And let's be frank.
We're pushing down the fake news, we're demoting it, and we are increasing the authoritative news and promoting it.
They don't want another 4 years of President Trump. Tonight, I will show you all the tools and techniques domestic tech companies use to manipulate the average American user and show you how to stop it. You'll never look at Facebook, Google, or YouTube the same way. Tonight, Digital Stormtroopers, how Big Tech will silence you and steal the election. Hello, America, and welcome to the program. Your digital overlords also welcome you to the program, but not this program. If you use a computer or a smartphone or Alexa or anything, really, whether you like it or not, you are part of their program. We all are. And it has happened so subtly and so fast that most Americans don't even notice what big tech is doing to all of us. I had an expert on radio today. He used to be the Google ethicist. He was part of the team that was looking at the ethics of everything, and he had to get out of there. He's like, this is so dangerous. We're doing a giant experiment on society. There's a big special on Netflix, a documentary called Social Dilemma, The Social Dilemma, that is coming out next week that I hope will be a wake-up call for America on what we're facing. Tonight, I want to talk to you about the election, and it's not about the post office. I addressed the post office and the mail-in votes on radio in hour number 1 today. If you've missed that show, go to the podcast and grab today's broadcast. You'll hear it in the first 20 minutes, and it's important that you understand what's happening. But there is something else that is going on. Big Tech has laid the groundwork to purge voices that it doesn't agree with. We know this. We're doing everything we can to fight it. Let me just stop here and say the one thing that I want to make sure we always have is a connection with you. I want you to sign up for our BlazeTV. If you can't afford to be a subscriber, I understand. Get the newsletter. Go to glennbeck.com. Get my newsletter. I need to be able to have a direct line to you. And if you can, become a subscriber. We just announced some really exciting things with Dave Rubin and some other things that are going on in the Blaze right now. Free speech needs to exist in America. And right now, I believe there may come a time very soon where we can't get the truth to you using these public platforms. Like right now, we're on YouTube. Wait until the end of the show. How long does that last? But we can always count on delivering the truth on our own through a platform that I started 10 years ago, actually 10 years ago last week, The Blaze. Tonight, I want to ask if you will support us and become a member of the Blaze family. Go to blazetv.com, use the promo code BIGTECH, and you'll get $20 off your subscription. Wait until after the show if you don't believe me that it's going to be worth it. We want to thank you for your support, but we want to make sure we've earned it. So you tell me at the end of the show if it's worth the, $6 at the end of the month for you to see just this one show. We are now 2 months away from Election Day, and we might find out how effective big tech's manipulation is. But then again, most likely, unless we do something starting tonight, we won't find out. And they are doing things to affect the election in ways that most people could not have dreamt of. Almost 4 years ago, big tech had its perfect cover for its own election activity. The mainstream's obsession with Russian interference in 2016. And I want to make this clear. Russia hacking was and is an ongoing problem. Same with China and other countries. But that is total child's play compared to what American tech giants are capable of doing, and I fear they are. The biggest interference threat in the upcoming election is Silicon Valley. Big tech companies represent our largest threat to free speech and democracy. These companies possess the ability to swing our election by enormous numbers. Forget about the swing states. The key to the race is the swing tech. In May, Twitter decided that they were going to start fact-checking President Trump's tweets. Now, that might be a normal thing to do if you're a news site, but remember, these big tech companies have special privileges granted to them by the government because they are platforms, not publishers. And as Twitter, Facebook, and Google wade further and further into censorship on their sites or even fact-checking, they dig themselves into a bigger legal hole. But until the tech giants are kept in check by those in the House and the Senate and the White House, which I don't think they will be because they're most likely getting big checks themselves, big tech censorship will continue. Now, Facebook is making contingency plans and working through post-election scenarios in case President Trump or his campaign try to use Facebook to question the legitimacy of the election results. All right, that's okay. Except there are no reports that Facebook is doing the same game planning work in case Joe Biden tries to question the results. And it's Joe Biden's side and Hillary Clinton recently that said, don't ever give in. No matter what they say, don't give in. Now, why would you game plan for only one side to lose if you're trying to prepare for multiple scenarios? It might be weird, but it's not surprising. The biggest potential manipulator in this election is Google, especially since it controls YouTube. How? I will show you in the next 60 minutes. And to explore that, I'm not an expert. I want to bring somebody in who is an expert in this kind of stuff. He is Dr. Robert Epstein. He has been on the program before. He's a senior research psychologist at the American Institute for Behavioral Research and Technology. His job is to see how we interact and respond to technology, how ads, like in the old days, how ads can manipulate people. He is a guy who counts himself as a Democrat. He was a Hillary Clinton supporter for years. And then he watched Google swing our election. He is an expert in this field. And I invited him to walk through the three main ways tech can steal an election. And as we'll discuss, he has developed the software to document exactly how Google interferes in elections. But without you and your support to gather the evidence for this November's election, you will not know what really happened. We are going to ask you to share this with every friend you have. If you have 5 cents, $5, or $500, or $500,000, we want you to go to stopbigtechnow.com during this broadcast and after this broadcast. And please stop what you're about to see. Let me bring in Robert here. Now, Robert says that there are 3 ways that they are influencing us and the elections. And I want to show you a clip from a great documentary you can find online called The Creepy Line. Here's way number 1. Watch.
They were getting a lot of information from people using the search engine. But if people went directly to a website, that's bad, because now Google doesn't know that. So they developed a browser, which is now the most widely used browser in the world, Chrome. By getting people to use Chrome, they were able now to collect information about every single website you visited, whether or not you were using their search engine. But of course, even that's not enough, right? Because people do a lot of things now on their mobile devices, on their computers, without using their browser. You want to know what people are doing even when they're not online. So Google developed an operating system, which is called Android, which on mobile devices is the dominant operating system. And Android records what we're doing even when we are not online. As soon as you connect to the internet, Android uploads to Google a complete history of where you've been that day, among many other things. It's a progression of surveillance that Google has been engaged in since the beginning. When Google develops another tool for us to use, they're doing it not to make our lives easier. They're doing it to get another source of information about us.
So I want to come back to that here in just a second. But Dr. Epstein, first of all, thanks for doing the program. The surveillance that people, I don't think, really truly understand that's going on. They are listening to absolutely everything. How?
Well, they're listening, they're watching more and more, unfortunately. But just a few years ago, for example, Google bought a smart thermostat company called Nest. And then without telling anyone, they put microphones inside the smart thermostats, which are in millions of homes. And recently they added a camera to the smart thermostat. Now, why does your thermostat need a microphone and a camera? Well, so again, because Google, they want to see and hear every single thing you do 24 hours a day.
Okay, so let me show the Google Nest. Can you bring that up again? This says, I know that you and your friends were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid it's something that I cannot not allow to happen. Is that some sort of digital manipulation, or is that real?
Well, that's a joke. That's okay. A quote from a famous movie called 2001, a Stanley Kubrick film.
Okay.
Yeah, but the device is real, and these devices now are in millions of homes, and the Google Assistant on Android phones is listening and recording. The Google Home device, which is like Alexa, is listening and recording. And Google has recently gotten patents issued, no kidding, patents issued on how to interpret sounds from inside one's home, so you know whether the kids are brushing their teeth enough, whether the sex life, could use some fine tuning, whether maybe there's a divorce coming soon, because all of that information can be monetized, and that's what they're doing.
Okay, so let me go back to that slide, that last piece that was in the creepy line, where it showed, here it is, where they are showing all of the apps that they're developing. And you said every time they develop an app, they're trying to surveil you. I know Ray Kurzweil. I don't know if you know Ray.
I know him very well.
Okay. Really smart guy, spooky guy, but really smart guy. And he has told me years ago, Google was the company that was going to make AI happen because it could crunch all the numbers, and they were trying to predict how humans thought. Is that still the goal, or is that just part of the goal? When did they go from, when they just dropped the slogan, "Don't be evil," when did they go from trying to create something that was an assistant that would help to then a system that would predict you and could sell to you, and now one that could control the way you think or vote?
Well, as my old mentor at Harvard, B.F. Skinner, often said, if you can predict, you can control. So the only reason they have shifted gradually towards building predictive models of all of us, which they've already done, by the way. But the only reason they've done that is so they can control us better. It's for control. It's to sell us more things, but more and more it's to impose on us their social agenda. Now, I happen to like their social agenda, but I don't want a private company imposing its social agenda on me and pretty much everyone around the world that's not accountable to me, to any public anywhere. That's absurd. One of the leaks from Google, an 8-minute internal video, which by the way Ray Kurzweil had something to do with, called The Selfish Ledger, which is about the company's ability to re-engineer humankind. And in fact, they have that ability, and we know from various leakers recently that they're actually acting on this agenda. They're not just picking our president and our senators, they're acting on this agenda to re-engineer humanity.
That's clear when you see just what's happening on our streets right now, with what's happening with our religions, what's happening with our schools and the information they're now being taught, with Black Lives Matter. There is a complete, to use the New York Times language for the 1619 Project, reimagining of the world. They are changing our culture and our history. And the most insidious one is the big tech, because you don't know it's happening to you.
That's exactly right. That's the main problem here, is that you don't know what they're doing. Almost all of the new techniques that I've discovered, these new means of online influence and manipulation, they're subliminal. You cannot see them. And because you can't see them, you can't resist them, you can't pass judgment on them, and you end up concluding over and over again that you've made up your own mind. That's extremely dangerous.
If somebody
and then,
would,
of course, yeah.
If somebody would go and look at YouTube and just search discussions for free will, what amazes me is how many discussions there are with very big intellectuals on whether or not free will exist in the very near future, because you won't be able to separate what you think from what you've been fed by big tech. And
right.
Nobody's really talking about this in the mainstream.
Well, I talk about it and have nightmares about it, 24/7. I'm just telling you that the more I have learned about this, Glenn, I can tell you the more concerned I've become, in part because I have 5 wonderful children, and I'm worried about the world that they're very, very rapidly stepping into. A lot of these things, though, you're talking about them as if they're hypothetical. They're actually already here. They're here right now. And a lot of the social chaos that we see, that's all around us, is actually driven by the big tech companies. You know, out of chaos comes order, right? It's going to be their order that's coming.
All right. I want to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back. And maybe you're like me, but you're going to learn an awful lot. If you have ever thought, oh, that drop-down box when I put something in Google, it's reflecting what people are talking about. No, it's not. That's what we all believe. But this is where the first step of real control of what you think and how you react happens. In just a second. Let me tell you about home title lock. COVID-19, what does that have to do with losing your home? A lot. The FBI reported that since the virus struck, cybercrime is up 75%. And wait, it gets worse. The legal title to all of our homes, now online. The crime is called home title theft, and it's everywhere. Cybercriminals find the title to your home online, forge your signature, do a quick claim deed, and refile as the owner of your home, and you're off the title. They have it. Then they destroy you by taking out loans against your home, steal the cash, stick you with the payments. You don't even know any of this has happened until you get a foreclosure notice. Home Title Lock. They protect your home and the legal title. It's your home, most valuable asset in your safe haven. When as crazy as things are, I know this sounds crazy, but there's one company that protects it. Home Title Lock. Go to HometitleLock.com right now. Register your address to see if you're already a victim. Then use the promo code for 30 free days of protection, and the code is BECK. HometitleLock.com.
We're pushing down the fake news, we're demoting it, and we are increasing the authoritative news and promoting it. How do we do that? We have a whole system. We came up with trashy news where we build classifiers, we identify it, we look for salacious, for clickbait, content that isn't, that we don't think is the authoritative news. It's just kind of encouraging people to look at, but it's not true. We're training, we added these instructions to our raters, and we've updated our classifiers, and we are working to understand, identify that with machine learning, and then to push that down.
any doubt in your mind, Robert Epstein, that this program on YouTube is going to be pushed down?
I think we're going to be wiped off the planet here digitally. Yes, I'm pretty sure.
That was the head of YouTube talking about what we already know. I would be considered, the Blaze would be considered by them a trashy network. ABC would be an authoritative voice. That's how you are being manipulated in the first place. They are telling you we are dismissing and we're the judge of what's true and false. And then they're going to teach a machine how to do that.
But you don't really get what's happening here. That was Susan Wojcicki, the head of YouTube. The reason why this is critically important is because 70% of the videos that people watch on YouTube around the world, 70% are suggested by their up next algorithm. You see what I'm saying? The power they have to shift opinions and votes is unbelievable. We're actually quantifying what we call the YouTube manipulation effect. We're quantifying that right now. I'll have numbers in a few months, but we think this is the most powerful form of manipulation that they have, and people are completely oblivious to it. They don't know about that algorithm.
But everybody thinks that that algorithm is made for you, so it's what you want. It's not.
Well, if you're strongly opinionated, yeah, they're just going to feed you what you want because they can keep your eyes on the screen, and they can, that's traffic, that's worth money. That's not the issue. The issue is, what are they showing the undecided people, the vulnerable people, the uncommitted people? How much power do they have to shift opinions, purchases, votes with those people? And I am telling you, I think this is going to be the largest behavioral effect ever discovered. And we've discovered about 11 or 12, but I think this one is going to be off the scale.
Okay. When people type in, Glenn Beck, we always think when it's filling the rest of it in that is what people are searching for. But that's not true at all, is it?
It was, I think, in the very, very beginning when that autocomplete was invented. But, at first it was an opt-in feature. Then all of a sudden it became a feature you couldn't opt out of. And then they reduced the number of items they were showing you to shorter and shorter lists. And very gradually it turned into what it is now, which is just a tool for manipulation. Okay. And we have shown in randomized controlled experiments, but just by manipulating those search suggestions that they flash at you while you're typing, we can turn a 50-50 split among undecided voters into a 90-10 split with no one having the slightest idea that they have been influenced.
So let's show one case here. This is against Biden. And you see it says against Biden political ad commercial, okay, this is Yahoo on the top. You go down to Google and it's a different story. Explain this.
Well, what Google is doing for candidates and companies and causes that they want to promote, they are suppressing negatives. So that's a perfect example where you see negatives popping up regarding Biden on YouTube, and same on Bing. But on Google, somehow or other, they're gone. They're missing. They're absent. That's content suppression. You could call it censorship, but it's also a very powerful manipulation that people cannot see. You can't see because you don't know what you don't know.
And especially because I know this has happened to me. Before I knew this, I would Google things and I'd be like, wow, I must be alone. Because nobody else is Googling nobody else is Googling this. Blatant Hillary. Up at the top now on this slide is Yahoo. And when you typed in, I can't even read it, it's so small, and Hillary, and it says, and Hillary bumper stickers, Hillary memes, anti-Hillary t-shirts, cartoons, anti-Hillary molten aluminum, anti-Hillary jokes. Okay, that's Yahoo. Now let's go down to Google, and what did they have? Anti-Trump cartoons. Wait a minute. Anti-Trump song. Anti-Trump. Wait, but.
Right, but when you go anti-Hillary on Google, you get nothing.
But if you put anti-Trump in, you get everything. But no anti-Hillary, nothing. Not one.
That's right. Not one. That's right. That happens a lot. So again, this is very powerful. You just suppress negatives when you're showing people suggestions. You suppress negatives for the candidate or the cause or the company that you support, and that shifts hundreds of thousands and ultimately millions of votes. It shifts the votes of people who are undecided.
Okay, explain the crooked Hillary trends graph. What does this mean?
Okay, that graph shows you that at some point or other in 2016, when Trump gave her that nickname, the Google Trends is showing you that millions of people were searching for Crooked Hillary. So the question is, that's according to Google's own data, the question is what happens if you type the word crooked into the Google search engine versus other search engines? And again, it's astonishing.
You get crooked smile, crooked blank, crooked colors come down, crooked smile lyrics. But if you put it into Bing, Crooked Creek, second is Crooked Hillary. Put it into Yahoo, crooked, the first one is Crooked Hillary. So two of them are operating honestly on the algorithm of what people are actually doing.
Correct.
But Google is the target because Google is the search engine that almost everybody uses.
Yes, these other search engines have no impact at all on public opinion or on votes. It's just Google. And when you see the difference between what they're showing you versus what these other companies are showing you, I mean, it's just night and day. And bit by bit by bit, you begin to understand, wait a minute, these are manipulations. These are powerful manipulations. And that's what I measure. That's what we do in our research. We actually measure the potential impact of these manipulations.
And not everybody will see these. Like,
oh no,
if I won't see these because I'm somebody who is pro-Trump or conservative or whatever, and so they won't necessarily serve this to me. But
no, what they serve to you is what they think you want to see. But that is not the issue, okay? Because they're not going to shift your vote. Okay, although there's some issues where they know they can shift you. That's why they do the predictive modeling. They know you far better than you know yourself. They have the equivalent on you, because I know how old you are. They have the equivalent of about, I'm not kidding you, 3 million pages of information on you. So they do the predictive modeling, and they're showing you what they want to show you that serves their agenda, but basically, no, they're not trying to manipulate you on issues they know they can't touch. Okay, other issues, yeah, where they know they can influence you, believe me, they are. But when it comes to an election, it's the undecided voters. And they know exactly who they are. I mean, literally, their names, exactly where they live, and they know every single thing about the undecided voters. And that's where these manipulations make all the difference. I mean, and they can shift people so quickly without people having any idea that this is occurring.
I was shown technology in 2012 or 15. I can't remember which one. And it was a predictive app that could show you what your neighbors believed. Yeah, I mean, and it was like 99% accurate. You would know, you'd be able to drive through a neighborhood and go, that's an independent house. That's a Trump house, that's a Hillary house, that's an independent house. And so you could go and speak to the Trump people to make sure that they were going out. They had no idea that you weren't hitting every house. You were just hitting their house. This is just a phantom doing that, because that can be tracked. There's record of that someplace. But this can't be tracked.
Well, it's not only that, but look at it this way. Even if somehow or other we had a way of getting them to delete our data, which they claim they will do, and they never do. They never, ever delete data. I mean, imagine King Midas throwing away his gold coins, flushing them down the toilet. Our data, that's their gold. So they never get rid of it, ever. But the point is, even if somehow we could get them to delete our data, the predictive models That's their property. That's really their intellectual property. And that's where the real value is. And they've gone way beyond, simple predictions. They're now at the point where they are making predictions about what you're going to do, think, and say moment to moment in time.
What does that mean?
That means that they've built another version of you and your kids and our kids. They've literally built digital versions. This is what Kurzweil does. They've built digital versions of us and our children, and they're using that to make predictions, and they're using that for manipulative purposes. So the more you know about someone, the easier it is to manipulate.
So some people would say, but it's such a great service because it anticipates me, because it knows what I'm looking for, et cetera, et cetera. So where is the creepy line? Where is that line where it turns from help to monster?
Well, you see, the real truth is there is no line anymore, because they're just operating at two different levels. So the level we see, right, and this is by design. At the level we see, they're just a, big, nice, cool public library giving us everything for free. That's the level we see. Right. But the other level is the real level. That's the business level, and we just don't see it. I'm one of the few researchers in the world who's been really, poking into that other level. At the other level, do public libraries track everything that people read and then monetize the information? Of course not. So the other level, they are the biggest advertising company in the world by a factor of 10.
Robert, just real quick, I want to hit this. Please put the website down where you can help monitor this. We're going to get into it in a second. You've got to track them. We have to track them. And we need money to do it. And we have been trying to raise money from big corporate, big people and big checks. It ain't happening. The people have to do this. Real quick, 30 seconds. Your life has been turned upside down since you came against these guys. And you're a Democrat.
Well, I lean left. I do lean left. But I just think there are bigger issues here. I love America. I love democracy more than I love any particular candidate or party. It's that simple. These issues go way beyond any particular election or even beyond the U.S. because these monopolies operate around the world, and they're impacting the attitudes, beliefs, purchases, opinions, votes.
This leads us to a China scenario.
Yeah.
Does it not? Yeah.
Yeah, except China stays, generally speaking, within China. But Google and Facebook, they're influencing 2.5 billion people around the world. That's more than twice the population of China, and that number will be over 4 billion probably within a year and a half.
Okay, those are the first two steps. Second step, step 3, manipulation. We go there next. First, let me tell you a little bit about Goldline. Goldline has been a sponsor of mine since gold was $318 an ounce or something like that. And I have been called crazy for investing in gold since it was $300 an ounce or $320 something an ounce. Now gold is, I think, is it still over just $2,000? And now JP Morgan, all these big investment houses, Goldman Sachs, they all say that gold is going to be anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000 in the next year. I don't know. All I know is I don't buy it as an investment. I'd be celebrating if my gold and I bought it as an investment. I don't celebrate because gold goes up as the world goes insane. And the more insane we go and the more crazy stuff we do with our monetary system, the higher gold will be. Please consider gold or silver just to stabilize things. Just 10% of what you have invested anywhere. Goldline, offering an incentive to get you involved by backing your retirement portfolio with gold and silver. Call them today. Find out how to get free gold and silver sent directly to your home for participating in their self-directed IRA program. Call them now at 866-GOLD-LINE. They stayed open just for this show, 866-GOLD-LINE or goldline.com.
The algorithm that they use to show us search results, it was written for the precise purpose of doing two things which make it inherently biased. And those two things are, number one, filtering. That is to say, the algorithm has to look at all the different web pages it has in its index, and it's got billions of them, and it's got to make a selection. Let's say I type in, what's the best dog food? It has to look up all the dog foods it has in its database and all the websites associated with those dog foods. That's the filtering. But then it's got to put them into an order, and that's the ordering. So the filtering is biased because why did it pick those websites instead of the other 14 billion? And then the ordering is biased because why did it put Purina first and some other company second?
So let's not talk about dog food. Let's talk about candidates. When you search for who is the best presidential candidate for Democrats, here's what Google gives you. Joe Biden.
Yes. Surprise, surprise.
So when did this happen?
Well, I think it's been to some extent a gradual process, but after the Armageddon, the apocalypse hit, which was in November 2016, these executives decided, I mean, we know this from leaks without any question, they decided...
They said it the day after the election, that they couldn't let this happen again.
No, they want Trump to be a blip in history. They've been revamping every single thing they do to make sure that not only that Trump can't win, but that basically Republicans can't win. They're going to just sweep. If we just sit back, okay, we literally are going to be turning over our democracy to these tech companies, and we'll have no idea what they did.
All right. We will have some idea if you help. This is the reason I'm doing this show. We have tried to raise money from big donors. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. If you are somebody who has a lot of money, step to the plate, man. Step to the plate and save your country. Save your country. Beyond our country. Save humankind from digital slavery. It is incredible what's happening. But if it takes one person with $10 million or, 10 million people with $1, we need the money so he can fund the capture system that he'll talk about here in a second to stop this and to prove what they've done. You cannot prove any of this unless you're looking over thousands of people's shoulders all across America. We'll get into that here in a second. So, when you look at idiot and you say idiot photos on Google, this is what you get. Almost all Donald Trump pictures. So that is not from people saying, because I thought the algorithm was what people are posting, what words are associated. None of that is happening anymore.
No.
So how does the algorithm come up with idiot for Donald Trump unless it's being told by somebody that's an idiot picture?
Well, as one of the recent Google whistleblowers said, Greg Coppola, he said, we do it with our algorithms. Our algorithms do exactly what we want them to do, and they show people what we want them to see. They just do it with algorithms, and the algorithms are helped by a number of blacklists that they have. Another Google whistleblower, Zach Voorhees, has become a good friend. He walked out of Google last year with, among other things, 2 of Google's blacklists that are actually called blacklists. So, they show us what they want us to see, and they do not explain their rationale.
Beside the level of technology, Robert, is there a difference between what Stalin was trying to do, the Stasi was trying to do, the KGB, the Stormtroopers? I mean, this is just their dreams come true, isn't it?
Well, no, they could never have dreamt of anything so powerful, anything on this scale. I mean, it's even in the novels. all the utopian or the dystopian novels, there's nothing that comes close to what has actually happened.
I want to do the drop-down bar. Explain again the drop-down bar and how powerful that is.
Well, you're being manipulated on the Google search engine from the very first character that you type. So if you type the letter A, everyone pull out your computers or mobile devices right now, type in A. I predict you're going to see Amazon probably in the first position, maybe even the second, maybe even 3 out of 5. Why? Because Amazon is Google's largest advertiser, and Google is Amazon's single largest source of traffic. These are business partners. Google is trying to get you to do things, to click here, to click there. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant because we're also mesmerized that we can't see it. The other feature is they're using what they call internally, we know this from another leak, they're using ephemeral experiences to manipulate. Meaning things like, search suggestions, search results, answer boxes, news feeds, all of that is ephemeral, meaning, it's just temporary. It's in front of our eyes for a few seconds, or an answer, let's say, they give you on Google Assistant. It just hits your eyes, hits your ears for a split second, it's gone. It's gone forever. No one can go back in time and figure out what they were showing you.
I remember in the 70s, there was this big thing about editing the word sex in, or, a Coca-Cola frame in something. And you could go back and see if that was true. And they said that was subliminal. This is subliminal, but it is not that subtle. It's really not that subtle. And you can't go back to the film to see the cut, the spliced frame.
You can never go back. In other words, no authorities can go back and check out these manipulations. One of the leaks of emails to the Wall Street Journal, one Googler is saying to others, how can we use ephemeral experiences to change people's views about Trump's travel ban? Seriously, they know what they're doing.
Okay. We have one more thing. I want to show you some graphs on how effective it is on changing people's minds in just a second. If you would like to help stop big tech from stealing the election, I want you to go to stopbigtechnow.com. You'll understand what his system is going to do when we come back, and why I am begging you to get involved, and please do everything we can to capture this so we have evidence. If you are in constant pain, I want you to know you're not alone. So was I. For millions of Americans, their pain has dramatically changed the quality of life. Here at The Blaze, I have met with members of the audience who are veterans who just couldn't get out of bed from pain, or people who worked in manufacturing that they couldn't return to work until they got out of pain. Those are the extreme cases. Most people are just like, I can't ride a bike anymore. I can't go for a long walk. I can't go hiking. I can't get down on my hands and knees with my kids or my grandkids and play. Relief Factor has helped me feel better, the best I have felt in at least half a decade. It's 100% drug-free, created by doctors. I have been taking it for 2 years. When I stopped taking it, believe me, I can tell. Join me and get your life back with Relief Factor and their 3-week quick start, only $19.95. If you're in pain, you've got nothing to lose but the pain. It's a natural, drug-free way. It's Relief Factor. Get your life back. ReliefFactor.com.
If the major players in tech right now, and that's mainly Google and Facebook, banded together and got behind the same candidate, they could shift, we figured, 10% of the vote in the United States with no one knowing that they had done anything.
That is phenomenal. If you've not seen the creepy line, you need to. Dr. Robert Epstein is the guy who did this. He honestly, when he started, didn't know what he would find. He voted for Hillary Clinton, but was horrified. He just wants a fair election. I can handle it if America votes for, Joe Biden. I won't like it, but I can handle it if it's fair. He feels the same way. I think most Americans do. If someone is trying to steal it, we have to catch them. I was on that position when everybody said Donald Trump stole the election with Russia. And for half a second, I believed it. And I said to my team, find out if that's true. And if it is, nail his ass to the wall. That's fairness. That's America. Robert, tell me how you get the information to either show they didn't or they did.
Well, we did this twice already, in 2016 and 2018. And each time we set up a Nielsen-type system, and meaning we recruited people in secret. We recruited a wide variety of registered voters around the country.
Independents?
Independents, left and right, everybody. That's the whole point, is we need to see everybody.
Okay.
In 2016, we preserved more than 13,000 searches on Google, Bing, and Yahoo, election-related searches. Our field agents were using just neutral search terms. That's very, very important. A lot of people who've criticized my work don't even understand that we did that. Neutral search terms. What does Google show you if you just type in Trump, for example?
Right.
Just a neutral term, or the wall. Mm-hmm. And what we found was very, very strong pro-Clinton bias, enough to have shifted between 2.6 and 10.4 million votes in 2016 with no one knowing, no paper trail. 2018, we preserved more than 47,000 searches on Google, Bing, and Yahoo. Again, found the same level of bias on Google, again, not on Bing or Yahoo. Enough in 2018 to have shifted 78.2 million votes to Democratic candidates around the country.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Now that's spread across hundreds of races. But this year we need a bigger system. We need to be monitoring a lot more than just search results. We have to look at news feeds and tweet suppression and all kinds of things. Fortunately, we know how to do it. That's the good news. And again, we've got to recruit a diverse group of American voters who cannot be identified, just like the Nielsen family, same thing. And then we're looking over their shoulders with their permission. We're aggregating the data that's coming in. And then we're making announcements. That's how to stop these companies, is to announce what we find day after day after day. And then they either back off or they go to jail. I
need you to go to Stop Big Tech now and just do your own homework. I think what you find there, you will find clips from other people, other interviews, creepy line. You'll find the evidence. But please, it will take the American people as individuals to stop this. Go to stopbigtechnow.com. Thomas Jefferson said he liked this system because every generation has a right to decide what the country should be. And we are about to decide. And I urge you to donate, or at least do the research, and then donate at Stop Big Tech, our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.